you guys. I feel like I got some of my teeth. Anyway. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Have y'all heard the new Drake album, Views? Y'all know I had to get it. I've been jamming to it all day. But anyway, you guys, I am coming to you with the final story time that primarily concerns or involves Bob. I just felt like I didn't want all of my stories to be about Bob, even though a lot of the juicy stories involve him, because there's tons. I mean, there's a lot. And once some of you guys started asking to actually see what Bob looks like and wanted me to post pictures and all of this stuff and have him do the video with me, which that ain't happening, Captain. I figured maybe it's time to wrap it up and just go ahead and tell you guys how Bob and I ended. And yeah, plus I got tired of talking about Bob. I already got to deal with him enough, so I don't want to talk about him too much on my YouTube channel. And I hope you guys can understand that I will still be bringing you story times, but they may not be as juicy and they may be more about other people, but I was somehow involved, but they just may not be as exciting as the Bob stories. So, and who knows, maybe, I don't know. Every now and then I might throw in a surprise and throw out another Bob story. But as of now, I think this will be the end of Bob. This actually happened after I had my third daughter. And it was around, she was about 2.5, almost 3 months. And I stayed with Bob after the baby he had with another woman while we were together. After multiple women and supposed other children. I stayed with him after fighting. I stayed with him after all his, you know, criminal activities. I stayed with him when I should have not stayed and I should have left. But that was, you know, my bad judgment. I was naive. I was gullible. I listened to him and it just was horrible. So, what actually did it for me, what made me just want to be done with him, it really kind of involved my dad in a way. And I'm a daddy's girl. I'm his only daughter. And I don't really play when it comes to my father. So Bob and I had a car. It was supposed to be both of our cars, but he mainly had it all of the time. And I had been working. I found another job after I left that call center job and after I, you know, had my baby and everything like that. But Bob no longer had a job. And so the car started acting up. And because I had recently got this new job and didn't, you know, have money saved up or anything, and Bob didn't have any money at all, the car was breaking down. And so my dad, he spoiled me a lot. And I told him what was going on with the car and how much it would cost to get the car fixed, which was $900. And my dad said, okay, I will give you the $900 to get the car fixed. So he did. So one morning he called and said that Bob could come and pick up the money to get the car fixed after he drops me off at work. He dropped me off at work and then he went to my dad's and to pick up the money. Now, I'm gonna let you guys know something. My dad did not like Bob, still doesn't care for Bob too much. I mean, a lot of that stuff is also he doesn't harbor bad feelings towards him. Hell, I don't really either. He's just annoying as hell. But you know, my dad didn't like him from the jump. He felt like if a boy or a man couldn't come to the girl's father that they're dating to introduce themselves, if they feel like they have to hide, that means they're a sneaky snake. So my daddy never really cared for Bob. And so when he was consistently, you know, getting me knocked up and me allowing that, my daddy just, he didn't have any feelings different towards me. But the fact that he knew stuff Bob did to me and how Bob treated me, he couldn't stand him. But before he even started doing that, he really didn't like him too much. Later that day, he comes to pick me up. He was a little late, but he comes and picks me up. So when he comes to pick me up, first thing I noticed is that the noise that the car was making and how it was overheating, it still was doing that. Supposedly what was wrong with the car would have only taken about 4 or 5 hours to fix. I was at work for 8 hours. So when he picked me up, which he was late, when he picked me up, the car was still doing the same thing. So I asked him, I was like, did you get the car fixed? And he ignored me. I said, excuse you, did you get the car fixed? Because it's still making this noise, or your mechanic didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was like, oh no, we had to reschedule. He's gonna fix it tomorrow. So I'm like, okay. So later that night, my dad calls, because my dad checked on me a lot. And my dad called and he was like, did y'all get the car fixed? And I was like, I guess something happened. Because mind you, he never talked to my father, really. I don't even know how it went when he went to pick up the money. I don't know if my daddy left it on the porch. I don't know what happened. But he never talked to my father. Even after he got me pregnant, my daddy might have said, out of a long amount of time I was with him, they probably had 4 conversations out of the whole time I was with that man. So, and 2 of them wasn't too good. So, my daddy was like, oh, so when is he getting it fixed? Because he gave him $900 to get this car fixed. And I was like, Daddy, he said he's going tomorrow. You know, he's going tomorrow after he dropped me off from work. I guess something happened with the guy that was supposed to fix the car or the shop. I don't know what's going on. But he said he's going to go first thing in the morning. So next day rolls around. I'm getting up, getting ready for work. And when I'm getting up, Bob is already up. He's in the restroom. And this ninja always took his phone with him every time he left out of a room, especially after the times that I found his phone and was going through it and going off on people and this and this and that. I could hear him talking. He was on the phone talking to somebody. And I heard him say, yeah, I'll be there. I gotta go do something for my mama. And that was it. So I'm like, what is he talking about? So I went back in the room, and when he came in the room, I was like, what was you doing in the bathroom? He was like, I was on the phone talking to the mechanic, telling him, you know, what time I'm gonna be there after I drop you and stuff off. I was like, what was you saying about your mama? What you gotta do for your mom? And he was like, oh, she wanted me to go pick up something for her. I knew that nigga was lying. But I was like, okay, whatever. Because at this point, I started to not care anymore. It's just like, I don't know. But let me just finish the story. Later that day, Bob picks me up from work. He picks me up. He has one of his friends in the car, and he has all 3 of my daughters. Oh, and to let you guys know, my daughters were in daycare while Bob stayed at home and did nothing once he lost his job. My daughters were in daycare. So that's where they were whenever he was going to do his stuff and I was at work, just to let y'all know. So I get in the car. I said, so did you go ahead and get the car fixed? Because it's still making this noise. He was like, yeah, he fixed it. He fixed it. He was like, he gonna, like, you know, do a little extra to it probably this weekend, but you know, he fixed it. So it's good. It's good to go. I mean, that knocking noise, he said he'll just do whatever he got to do on Saturday, but we good. And I was like, and he couldn't finish it all in one day? He was like, nah, he couldn't. I was like, but you already paid him the money. And he was like, yeah, I did. So he drops off his homeboy. We get home. Now, mind you, this car is both of our cars, even though he had it all the time. So when we got home, we was at home for a good 2 hours or whatever. My dad called asking if the car got fixed. I told him, yeah, the car got fixed, but something else needs to be done on Saturday. But he's already paid the man. My daddy was like, he paid him already and it's not completely finished. I was like, no, he did. It's not, I guess it's finished, but he was saying something. I was like, Daddy, I don't know. He was like, okay, bossy, just let me know when the car is fixed. This, and that. And he was like, make sure he got a receipt. I didn't even think about that when I first got in the car. So I was like, okay, I will. So I went in the bedroom and I was like, do you have a receipt, Bob? Did he give you a receipt? He was like, oh, he's going to give me that on Saturday too. I said, you gave this man, my daddy's $900 to get this car fixed, but he didn't give you the receipt? He was like, no, I'm going to get it on Saturday. I was like, okay. I had remembered that I had left a brand new pack of diapers in the trunk of the car. I went outside to the car to get the diapers. So when I was unlocking the trunk from the back and pulling it up, babe, let me tell you what was in that trunk. A pair of Jordans, don't know what kind. A pair of, what you call them, some kind of basketball shoe. I don't know, they not, I don't know, but it was 2 pair of tennis shoes in there. It was a bunch of white t-shirts in the car, like the packages of white t-shirts. 2 blue, cause he wore blue a lot. 2 blue KC hats. What else was in there? It was like a lot of stuff in there. I'm looking in the car like, where did this stuff come? Whose is it? I take the stuff out of the trunk, bring the stuff in the house. I'm like, Bob, whose stuff is this? Is this your friend's stuff? Where'd all this stuff come from? He was trying to act like he was all sleepy and didn't understand what I was saying to him. What, huh? What you talking about, bossy? Man? Huh? I'm like, whose stuff is this? Is all this stuff was in the car? Is this yours or where did this come from? You didn't have no money. He's like, man, that's my homeboys. He left that in there. I took him to the mall today. I said, boom, right there. How did you take him to the mall today? He was like, I took him to the mall this morning when it opened. I said, how did, wasn't the car with the mechanic? How did you take him? He was like, oh no, I took the car over there a little later. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna need for you to call that mechanic so I can speak to him because my dad wants his receipt. He wants to see what he paid for. So I said, you need to give me the number. He kept trying to play me off and not give me the number and not give me the number. So I'm arguing like, give me the number. He won't give me the number because I need to find out why we ain't got no receipt yet and we gotta wait till Saturday for a receipt. And also, to find out exactly what time he started on this car and why is this car still making noise that he supposedly fixed. So he ain't giving it to me. Okay, fine. I'm done arguing. I go to sleep. I'm like, whatever. Next morning I wake up. He sleep. Some said, call his cousin and get the mechanic's number. So I called the cousin with a bogus ass story like, Bob told me to call the mechanic to see what time Saturday to bring the car over to finish it. And he was like, oh, what's wrong with your car? And I was like, it's messing up. Didn't he tell you? He was like, oh, no, he didn't. So I was like, well, yeah, it's messing up, so I need the mechanic's number. So I was telling myself, when I get to work and, you know, I go on my lunch break, I'm going to call the mechanic because it's so early in the morning. But his cousin I called is up early all the time. Plus, if he hadn't been, I didn't care. I was going to call anyway. So after I drop my kids off, you know, I go on break and I actually call the mechanic. And I'm like, yes, hi, this is Basima. I'm Bob's girlfriend. You had been working on our car. And he was like, wait a minute, who are you? Who are you? And I was like, I'm Bob's girlfriend. And we had the blue, what is it? Taurus? The Taurus, what is that? What was that car? Something Taurus. It was something looked like a spaceship to me. But he was like, he mentioned something to me about fixing on it, but I haven't touched the car yet. When y'all trying to bring it? He's like, I said, huh? I said, no. He's already brought that car to you yesterday, and you were supposed to fix the rest of whatever on Saturday. Plus, we need a receipt. He was like, oh, sweetheart, I haven't. First off, don't call me sweetheart. But he was like, oh, sweetheart, I haven't touched that car yet. He mentioned something about it, but I haven't touched that car yet. I said, oh, okay, thank you. So that whole day at work, I'm pissed off. Like, I know this nigga. I know he did not take my daddy's money and spend it on himself in some bullshit. Me trying to be an investigator, I call his friend. Now that friend, it wasn't hard to find his number out. Called the same cousin and got that number. They all hung together. I guess they didn't talk to each other saying, Basima might do this, she might try to do this. But hell, he was clueless. I called a friend and I'm like, hey, you left a bunch of your stuff in the trunk. You left like shoes and hats and all of that stuff in there. He was like, when? I was like, yesterday. He was like, I was like, when he took you to the mall. He was like, he got quiet. And I was like, what all did you have in that bag? Just to make sure I don't pull the wrong bags. He was like, I think I did have like maybe some shoes or something like that. I was like, it was a lot of stuff in that trunk. That wasn't all yours? He was like, nah, I think some of that was Bob's, but I think maybe the shoes was mine. Maybe the shoes was yours. Either they were or they weren't. So I'm like, this dude is lying. He's lying. First off, he didn't know what was going on, but once he figured out stuff wasn't sounding right, he started trying to lie to protect his homeboy. So I was like, you know what, it's cool. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. And hung up in his face. So I get home. Well, so I go pick up my daughters from daycare. I get home. And at this point, I'm pissed. I haven't even told my daddy yet that this dude basically took the $900, spent it on himself, didn't even take his friend to the mall. I know he didn't take his friend to the mall. Spent it on himself, probably on some chick he was messing with, because heck, he used to get chicks' brakes fixed and this and that. I walked in the house, got my kids situated. I didn't even say nothing. I just walk, go in the kitchen, I get a trash bag from underneath the counter. I walk into my bedroom. He had one drawer in my room and the rest of his stuff was hung up in the closet. I opened the drawer because he was laying back on my bed with the pillows propped up with his hands behind his head and his feet crossed watching TV. I start putting everything in a big trash bag and he like sits up on the bed and he's looking at me like, Bossy, what you doing? And I'm still not saying nothing. So I'm throwing all his stuff in the bag. I go back out the room through the living room and we have a sliding door to where our like balcony was. I tie the bag up and I put it on the balcony. He only had one big trash bag. I then grabbed my cell phone. I called his sister. I said, you need to come and get your brother right now. She was like, huh, what you talking about, girl? I was like, you need to come and get your brother right now. Right now. So I walked back in my bedroom and he all looking crazy, sitting all up in the bed. I was like, you need to get your shoes on. I need you to get out of my house. He was like, man, go on with all that. I was like, get out of my house right now. I want you out of my house. I'm not playing with you. Get your ass out of my house. And he was like, I ain't going nowhere. I said, you don't pay rent. You don't pay for nothing. Get out of my house. I was like, you stole that money from my daddy? I talked to your homeboy. He said that stuff wasn't his. His eyes got big. He started looking all crazy and stuck. I said, so you stole $900, spent it on clothes and whatever else, probably liquor, weed, whatever. Blacks. I said, you did all of that with my daddy's money. I was mad. I was pissed because my daddy was willing to help me and you didn't use the money for what you were supposed to use it for. So I was like, you know what? You done cheated. You done did all of this stuff. I probably didn't say that, but I was going off. But like, you done cheated, you done did all of this stuff, and then you stole from my daddy and spent the money on yourself rather than on the car that we need for our kids to get them where they need to go. I said, get your ass out of my house or I will call the police. As soon as I said I would call the police, oh, he got real straight. He was like, okay, because when you got warrants and all of this stuff, you don't want the police called. So he was like, man, so where am I supposed to go? I said, your sister is on her way. You can wait outside on the balcony with your clothes, or you can wait in the front of the house with your clothes. And he was like, you put my stuff outside? What? I was like, it ain't raining and it's in a bag. You fine. So his sister came. She was trying to calm down the situation. I was like, look, I don't have no issues with you, but you need to get your brother out of here because I can't do it no more. I said, I'm done. I looked at him when I walked in that house and he had his feet propped up and all the stuff just flooded. It just came to me thinking about everything he's done to me and my kids, because the stuff he did to me, it affects my kids. It affects, well, even though they were so young, like, if they was their ages now, I'd really probably done killed him because they're older. But then they were young babies. But still, I just lost it. I couldn't do it no more. I was like, I've wasted too much time. I can't do it. So I told her, you need to take your brother. So they left. He kept calling and texting me. I wasn't answering. Like, it just felt so good, y'all. Like, couldn't do it no more. I was done. I didn't have no love for him no more, and I felt like I was scared to leave him after a certain point. In the beginning, I loved him. I wanted to stay with him. Maybe I felt like I couldn't have nobody else because I had all these children by him, but I was like, I was done. I couldn't do it no more. Like, that was the end. He was calling me constantly because he didn't get the memo that you don't live here no more. I don't want you no more. We not together. He assumed we still together. He just living with his family members. Nah, bruh. We done. Like, I can't do this anymore. And I eventually found an even better job. And somehow he found out about it. And he started, you know, getting upset. Talking about, B, you think you better than me and this and that. I said, I am better than you because I take care of your 3 daughters. I make sure I go to work every day. I don't bring mess and nonsense around my kids. So I said, I am. And if you're mad, well. So, you guys, that is really how I got Bob out of my life. Just that little, it wasn't even a little thing. The thing that he did that took me over the edge as far as basically stealing from my father was that. That's really what took me to a point where I was like, this dude is stealing from my daddy. I don't play when it comes to my daddy or my children. So when that happened, it was a wrap. I had to go. And it threw him off. He couldn't believe it. I walked in the house, no yelling, no nothing. And then once I tell you to get out of my house, I was calm. I think it even scared him. Because I said, get out of my house. I need you to get out of my house. But when you don't want to get out, that's when my loudness comes out. And I was about to get real ratchet. So, you guys, just to let you all know, I stayed with Bob about 5 years. The whole time it was pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad. We still had a couple of issues after we broke up because he just could not seem to realize that I did not want him anymore. Yeah, so it took almost a good year for him to realize I didn't want him no more. Sorry, I had to adjust my camera. So yeah, he was trying to interfere with other things in my life. So eventually, you know, I guess he got tired. He got tired and then started having other babies and all this other stuff because I wasn't fooling with him no more. That's basically how we ended. Yeah, you don't play with my family. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I guess my switch just clicked on like, girl, leave him. Why are you with him? What is he doing for you? Nothing but getting you pregnant all the time. So, yeah, you guys, that is how Bob and I ended. For some of you asking, I still have a relationship with him as far as I talk to him maybe once a month about my daughters, whether if they get in trouble at school or if they need something and he's able to help. Other than that, we don't have no type of relationship. I try to be cordial as much as I can. he's grown some as far as being a father. As far as him being a boyfriend and all that, I wouldn't know. I ain't been with that man in what is it? I ain't been with that man in 8 years. So yeah, it's been cool. And I probably thought I wasn't gonna be able to make it without him, but I was thinking, what am I doing with him? It wasn't really, yeah, you know. So it was kind of good that I finally woke up and realized that Bob just wasn't too good. But, you know, I don't wish anything bad upon him or, you know, all his children, you know, because 3 of them are mine. So, yeah. That is how we ended. What else did y'all ask about him? He does see my children a little more than he used to. But, I mean, other than that, it ain't too much more that I really want to talk about with him. If anything, I want to talk about my new boo, but our stories ain't that interesting because we ain't too boring, but we don't have drama. So, I guess we are boring because we don't have drama. So, yeah, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this final story, I guess, about Bob. And I hope you guys enjoy any other story times that I bring to you that might not be as juicy. I think one is juicy, but it really ain't got nothing to do with me, but I'm involved. But yeah, you guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, loves.